You know, if you know me, you know I'm not much of a talker, like Tom said. My brothers always did it for me. I want to thank my family for coming out. They came from all over the country, all over the state. And then I also want to thank Tori's family for coming all over Stearns County. She's related to half of Stearns County. So, I first met Tori 5 years ago when we were only, we were basically kids. And when I say it was love at first sight, you probably shake your head and you think that it's some kind of romantic folktale. But I'll tell you, I swear to God, that's exactly what it was. She walked up to me and she introduced herself. She said, "Hi, I'm Tori Haran." And I said, that's 100% true. I was so glamored that I couldn't even talk. But I knew right then that she was the one. Because of my lack of the ability to be able to talk to her, I began asking about her. When I expressed my interest to her and her friends, they told me she wasn't interested in dating anyone right now, and that it was useless to pursue her. But I did not care one bit. I began plotting. I did everything I could think of. Anytime we were in the same room, I would sit what she considered uncomfortably close to me. I started talking to her every chance I got, and it started getting easier. The more I got to know her, the more I knew that my efforts were well worth it. The most beautiful woman I have ever seen, that I was working harder than I've ever worked in my life, still to this day, to make mine, turned out to also be the sweetest, warmest, and most amazing woman in the world. She still acted like she wasn't interested after months. But I could feel that there was at least something there. I picked up my efforts and even left a gift basket with chocolates and a teddy bear at her house at 5 in the morning. I knew I had to strike while the iron was hot, and I asked her out, and to my utter shock, she said yes. Oh my God. After months of harassing this poor girl, my efforts were finally worth it because I received the greatest achievement of my life. The next 2 years were the most amazing years you could imagine. I was taking her on walks in the woods to prove to her that Bigfoot was real. We were going to the movies all the time, and I was taking her to restaurants that me as a high schooler working at Wells Concrete could not afford. But it was well worth it. I knew I couldn't let up. I continued to work even harder to make her happy and treat her the way I knew she deserved to be treated. I can't explain how amazing those 2 years were. Then came boot camp. Kissing her goodbye was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. What made it worse was everyone telling me that I should be ready for a Dear John, and that no girl would wait 5 months. But there was no doubt in my mind that she was different, that she was more persistent than any girl they've ever met. They give you one phone call when you arrive at boot camp, and I had written down my mother's number, but I had Tori's memorized. This is a true story. So there's when you get to boot camp, there's a little plaque above the phone, and you pick up the phone and you dial the number that's supposed to be your mom. And you're supposed to read it verbatim. I called Tori with 2 giant drill instructors next to me, and I finished reading the plaque and I said, "I love you." And then I hung up. And the drill instructor's trying to make me regret it, but it was still worth it. For the rest of boot camp, I kept a picture of her in my breast pocket and would look at it anytime I needed to be reminded of my motivation. I put it in the rack above me every night. I wrote her letters every chance I got, and every time I received one from her, I would read it on loop every chance I got. The letters stayed in my other breast pocket. And before I knew it, we made it through boot camp, ITB, and LRTC. I picked her up from the airport with tears in my eyes and left my truck in the parking lane and hugged her. Yeah, the parking lane, and hugged her so tight I was surprised her head didn't pop out. Everybody again doubting us said we were too young to get married, but I knew that they were wrong. With the pay of a private first class in the U.S. military isn't much, I went and bought her a ring that I couldn't afford. I told her we should wake up early and take pictures on the beach with the sunrise. In hindsight, this was probably not a good idea and was a dead giveaway. I got down on my knee and asked her to marry me. And again, to my surprise, she said yes. Then the biggest curveball of our life happened, and I was forward deployed for 7 months. It was, again, a very, very hard time being away from her, and it was really hard kissing her goodbye again. I still had pictures of her in my breast pocket and still put it on the rack above me, but there was never a doubt during that entire 7 months that this time I was completely positive that she would wait. Alright, a little change of speed. We are who we are because of the people that are around us, especially when we're growing up. And me and Tori have had some of the greatest examples of relationships and marriages that have lasted so long. Not everyone can say that, but you know, my parents really taught me, my dad taught me how to be a man and how to treat a lady. And yeah, all of our family is just great role models to us. So thank you to everyone. And Tori, I promise to continue working my ass off for you and to always try to make you happy and treat you the way you deserve to be treated. I love you more and more each day, and I will until the end.
Aww.